Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Afternoons with the Ambassador. And I am so glad to see my good friend here, Brian Hill, Master of None, Agent 0067. And today, as the title card and everything indicates, we are going to be talking about okay, I'm going to just say it, and this is my opinion, a great film of the mid-90s, Batman Forever. And Brian, my friend, good to have you here. How are you doing today?
Oh, glad to be here. Just finished up doing an hour playing Star Trek Online for my 50 subscriber spectacular. It was fun.
Hey, congratulations.
Got to do a lot of talking about Star Trek, and it's definitely something I like to do.
Outstanding. Yeah, outstanding. Glad and congratulations on hitting 50. You're
Thanks,
there,
man.
son.
Yes,
You're
sir.
getting there. Keep it going.
It's been a fun ride.
It has. I remember when I hit 50 and wow. So, but yeah, just very quickly, let me switch tabs here. And to the chat, number one sci-fi. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you could tune in today. So, yeah, this is not going to be anything super deep or anything. We're just going to, as most of you probably heard, we lost Joel Schumacher earlier this week. And I thought just as a nice little homage to, I think, a good director in the entertainment industry, we'd revisit one of my personal favorites, and obviously Brian is a huge DC fan, Batman fan, all that entails, and show a little love to this one because we don't talk about the other Schumacher Batman movie here on the on my channel.
Batman.
We don't even mention its name. But, yeah, this, honestly, I remember going to see this, and this actually has a little bit of a bittersweet memory for me and everything, because this movie came out around the time that my maternal grandmother passed away. And me and my mother, we were just looking for some escapism and everything, and we heard that this was out, and we were like, let's go see this. Let's get our mind off all the bad that's just happened, and let's go escape from everything. And that was what was great about this movie. It was a great piece of escapism. And to the chat, Purple Lady, good to see you. You and Samantha Joe this morning, you ladies were on fire and everything. That was a great follow-up to the stream I did on Wednesday. So Purple Lady and Samantha Joe, Purple, if you can pass this message on to Samantha Joe, you ladies were on fire. Absolutely on fire. Well done. But this was just a great piece of escapism cinema, honestly, and it doesn't take itself overly seriously. It does have some serious elements to it. It kind of shifted tone from the more dark and gothic and gritty, Burton-esque tone of the previous two Batman movies, and they still had some of that gothic architecture in the movie, but you had a little more of that neon feel and everything that Joel Schumacher brought into this movie. And honestly, I thought it worked. I really did. I loved, one of my favorite things about this movie is the villains. Loved Two-Face, loved Riddler.
They're as colorful as the movie itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And in honor of this review, I have changed my avatar. Let's start this party with a bang. And I'm gonna say this: a lot of people were like, "Okay, Harvey Dent was
Billy D.
Williams in 1989. What the heck happened?" And honestly, I don't know all the details about the change and everything from Billy D. Williams to Tommy Lee Jones. But honestly, you got a really cool three-named actor. You can't go wrong. Billy D. Williams, Tommy Lee Jones. It worked.
Yeah, no, this is true. Yeah. But not only that, but I think the only real connective tissues between those and the ones before it was Alfred and Commissioner Gordon, right? I mean,
yeah, they kept the same actors, Pat Hingle and for heaven's sakes, what was the name?
I forgot who played Alfred though.
Because Pat Hingle played Commissioner Gordon, but I can't remember for the life of me the name of the gentleman who played Alfred. But he did such a good job. I would say he was just as good in Alfred, maybe not as heavy as Michael Caine's Alfred in the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah,
but he was still No, that was the other. Never mind. But yeah, this honestly was a. I think this was a really good. Excuse me, just had lunch. Talking too fast.
I know where's
But this was such a. I thought this was a really good change and everything from the Burton films, and it still had it had a good story. It had some heart to it. You still had some introspection on the part of Bruce Wayne and everything. And I know some people threw some flack and everything at the change and everything. But honestly, I thought Val Kilmer was a very good Batman. I would say he was
yeah,
just as
no
good
complaints.
as just as good of a Batman and Bruce Wayne as Michael Keaton was.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we just recently did a discussion on another part by Val Kilmer, and that was, of course, Tombstone. And this was a few years after his role as Doc Holliday. And honestly, I loved him as Val Kilmer. Or Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne and Batman. He brought weight to it. He brought some charm. He brought some humor to the role, and he made it his own and everything. I think he was doing a little bit of a Keaton-esque play on his performance, but he really made that role his own, and he did a very good job at doing it.
Yeah.
So, Brian, anything you want to bounce off of? Anything I've said so far?
Nothing in particular. Everything. I pretty much agree with most what you said. With regards to this movie, and my experience with it, I saw it in the theaters when it came out. I distinctively remember my dad falling asleep right around the time Robin steals the Batmobile. And one of my favorite songs from the soundtrack is "Smash It Up" from Offspring, and that's a song that plays there.
Yeah.
So that's how I really remember that part of the movie, and it was one of my favorite parts, to say the least. But I do like how they kept the aesthetic of Gotham by that Gothic architecture. Gotham Gothic kind of. It really does fit, and I think carrying that aspect of the Tim Burton. I wasn't a huge fan of the neon, and it really didn't work for me in the next one. And as far as Val Kilmer goes, loved him. Chris O'Donnell. I was so happy to see him reprise the role in the next movie. I won't mention it, but I liked him as Dick Grayson / Robin. He was really good. I would be interested in like Flashpoint or something like that. Give me Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Yeah, that would be an interesting.
I'd see him again
right there. Yeah, that would be an interesting turn and everything to see O'Donnell and Keaton interact with one another and everything. But you hit on something that I really wanted to discuss and everything, and that was the soundtrack to this film. And this is one of the instances where the soundtrack just a little bit outshines the film, because you had some really good bands for the soundtrack. You had Seal, which he's kind of faded into obscurity.
But everybody knows "Kiss from a Rose," though.
"Kiss from a Rose." Everybody knows that song. For me, my favorite piece of music and everything, the orchestral stuff was good. By Danny Elfman, the big bombastic orchestra pieces and everything, those were good. One of my favorite songs, which was actually tied into one of my favorite music videos from the 1990s, was U2's "Hold Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me."
Yes.
Next time I do a karaoke night, I am doing that song, because
that's a great song.
That is a great song, and the video is just as good. It's all done in animation and everything, and they do have some clips spliced in from Batman Forever into that video. But all the same, that song was so good and everything. I know some people don't have big fans of U2, but that particular song, I was like, there's just something about this song that is so darn kick-ass.
Oh, 100%. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there it is. I found the listing. Oh, yeah. Brandy had a song on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For heaven's sakes. Well, you said Offspring. I'm trying to think who did a song for that soundtrack, but I can't remember everybody.
I like that the Flaming Lips did that Bad Days song. That was good.
Oh, yeah. The part where Enigma gets fired or quits and everything.
Yeah, he goes back to his house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you hate your boss and your job. I won't sing anymore. I don't want to get a strike.
But no, that's a great song. I mean, it totally fits.
It does, and that was one of the great thing about. Well, that was one really cool thing about this. They fit the music. They fit the music to the scenes in a lot of cases. And the only thing that stings is I wish they had found a place to put that song by U2 in there somewhere. But the only place you had is at the end of credits, and it was okay. But I would have rather them figured out a way to put it into the actual movie.
Yeah.
Maybe put it like at the end battle or something. But one of the good things about this movie is obviously the cast, because you've got Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne, you've got Chris O'Donnell as Robin, you've got Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, and Jim Carrey as Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, and then of course you had Nicole Kidman as Dr. Chase Meridian. And of course, you had, we were talking about this before we got started, you had Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazur as Two-Face's hinge girls.
Mm-hmm.
And can we just say that they kind of played up the sexy with these ladies in this movie? I mean, let's just be candid here. Yeah. They played up the sexy with Nicole Kidman and all them and everything. And I'm gonna make kind of a off-color. I'm gonna make kind of a racy joke here. I don't even want to think about what Two-Face was like in bed. That is
very interesting thing to think of.
Ooh, that would have been okay. One night he's with Drew Barrymore. The other night he's with Drew Barrymore's character. The next night he's with Debbie Mazur's character. And I can't remember the name of the two hench girls and everything, or hench women, but whew, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the immortal words of the Animaniacs, hello, nurse.
Hello, nurse. Yeah, hello, naughty nurse. Do you want a sponge bath, Mr. Face?
Just this night, though.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to say this. I know Tommy Lee Jones is not known for his humor. Oftentimes in his roles, he has a very deadpan, kind of a straight man feel for if he does any type of comedy. But he plays very well off Jim Carrey as the Riddler in this. He really,
it's very
really
over the top compared to some of
it
the
is.
Ones. I mean, I think the closest you'd see it is maybe his character on Under Siege. Kind of an over the top kind of bad guy.
Oh yeah. I would wholeheartedly agree with that right there. And
that's a good movie, by the way, Under Siege.
It is. Steven Seagal and I forget the name of the girl, but let's just say it. It wasn't Anna
Elena Eckhart or something like that.
Yeah. Goodness. Hello. Wow.
Yeah, I'll never look at a birthday cake the same way again.
Okay, I'm getting aroused by a birthday cake here.
But anyways, Batman and Rob, Batman Forever. Almost said the bad one. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's all right. I'll just have to virtually punch you in the shoulder if you say Batman and Robin. Oops, I got to punch myself.
Well, the funny thing, the Enigma box or whatever, sticking with current events, I kind of thought when they came out with the new design of the PS5, it looked eerily similar to the Enigma box that would sit on top of the TV and beam their brainwaves out to the bigger collector. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was really interesting, especially how it showed that Nygma got, let's talk about the Riddler for a second.
Yeah, please.
At the time, Jim Carrey was hotter than it could get. I mean, what was it? Ace Ventura 1, 2, Dumb and Dumber, all those movies. The Mask had just come out. So, I mean, he was really, really hot at that time. So I could totally see the casting of that character, and honestly, how much money he got paid to do it. He got paid.
Well, and not only that, to quote Ruby Rod, he's not just hot, he's hot.
He's super green.
And he was really super green in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and then he gets spurned by his boss and stuff like that.
Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that and his immediate supervisor. That he throws him out the window and stuff. But yeah, so that was really cool. And then how he basically made his transformation was kind of similar to how Catwoman made hers in Batman Forever. Or
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns. And I messed that one up, but no, it's like the hello there sign across the way and stuff like that. But it was really good seeing that kind of a transformation into the bad guy that he became.
Yeah, and I love that whole scene. The Gamester, Captain Kill, and all those others.
How's the mole?
The puzzler. And Jim Carrey, he exuded crazy in this part. They cast him pitch perfect as Edward Digger or everything in this movie, and every scene he's in, he almost steals. And my favorite quote, it's my all-time favorite quote from the movie, although there are several. And it's right when Bruce gets into the main chamber there with him and with Two-Face. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Oh, heck yes. Oh, and then the bat suits that he made, the sonic wave.
Yeah.
Wow. So cool.
Yeah. But this is, and I love the cost. The one thing I really enjoyed is the costume design and everything for the villains.
From the nipples, yeah.
Bat nipples. No, and definitely not Robin nipples. We don't want to see Bat or Robin nipples. No, thank you.
Oh, and the butt shots.
Oh, the bat butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bat butt. Like, okay, Joel, we get it.
Yeah, we know where you land, but
well, we may not know where he lands because we won't get into that here.
Yeah.
But okay, another favorite quote of mine. This is from Alfred. Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir? I'll hit drive-through.
I'll take drive-through.
I'll get drive-through. Yeah. And of course, of course, everything back in those days, you had the Happy Meal from McDonald's. I think McDonald's did a tie-in for Batman and Batman Forever and everything, and they used that bloody clip in their commercials. And I'm just like, wow. Can you use
product placement?
Can you say product placement even though there was no actual product placement? But one of my favorite scenes is actually the circus. Anything where we get introduced to the Graysons, the Flying Graysons. And fun fact and everything, they actually had a actual acrobatic team and everything that did those parts. And I think they had, I can't remember if they had a stunt double for Chris O'Donnell or not, or if he did some of his own. They may have had him for some of the more dangerous stuff, but I think they might have had him actually up there, maybe.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he was up there, but the trapeze artists were, that's.
Oh, yeah, those were all trained people. And I'll say this, they did a good job. And then, of course, you've got Two-Face coming in acting like a maniac. And we've got two tons of TNT.
Of TNT. And on my hand, a detonator.
Yeah, Well, getting into the story and everything of this movie itself and everything, of course, you've got the fight between Batman and the Riddler and everything there at the beginning. And you've got Tommy Lee Jones just absolutely chewing up the scenery. He's in there with his gang and everything. He's got the red and black yin yang sign, which actually I thought that was a pretty good emblem for him, to be honest. I thought that was really appropriate. And Jeff B, yes. Carrie as the Riddler was nuts. Grinch was great. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
you're the Grinch. Yeah, but the main beat of this film and everything is obviously centered around Batman, and it's him trying to come to grips with which is he? Is he Bruce Wayne or is he Batman or is he a combination of the two? And you've got Two-Face, which I think was a good villain for this particular type of story because you've got the duality of the two halves of the person there with Two-Face.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the absolute mania and craziness of Edward Nygma because Nygma is he was first and foremost a narcissist.
Yeah.
And everything. He only cared for himself and everything and getting what he wanted. And of course, you've got the whole competition between Wayne Tech and Nygma Tech and everything when Nygma comes up with that virtual reality box and everything. But this was a good, interesting Batman story. I mean, it wasn't, as far as I'm aware of, based on any pre-existing comic storyline or anything like that. It certainly wasn't based on anything from the '90s cartoon, which was, I think, still running at the time. But what they did with this movie was really explore which part are you? Are you this one part in the majority of your life, or are you the other part of yourself in the majority of your life? And this movie really tackled that in particular with the dream sequences and with Wayne going to Meridian and talking with her and everything.
Exactly. I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you're talking about the duality between the villains, especially with Two-Face and stuff like that. It's the same thing with Dr. Chase Meridian with Bruce Wayne and Batman, because she loves Batman. You know what I mean? And Bruce Wayne loves Dr. Chase Meridian. So and like you said, those dream sequences, they're really tight. The night and day, the good and evil, the bat versus the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It definitely, and not only that, but it was the first time we'd ever really seen him fall in the well, in that, because they never really showed that in, the original Batman in '89. It was just, I'm Batman. They didn't really give him much origin behind it. I mean, they showed his parents getting killed and stuff like that by the Napier, but not legitimately showing the meat and potatoes of it, as it were, and how he chose the symbol of the bat, to strike fear into the hearts of evildoers.
Yeah, well, and that was one of the really interesting things. And just very quickly to the chat, Jeff B and Josh and Rebecca Momney, is good to see you all. Glad you're here. Hope y'all are having a great Friday. But we figured that this obviously is later on in Wayne's career as the Batman, and he's still trying to wrestle with letting go of his parents' death. And Meridian says it very perfectly. What could compel someone to perpetrate this nightly torture on themselves?
Yeah.
And that's very apropos. It's very appropriate here because it's hard to deal with grief. And Bruce being so young when his mother and father are murdered right in front of him.
Oh yeah.
And he says it perfectly, and I think this is a very good piece of sentiment and everything by Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne in this. He was staying there during the funeral or the wake or whatever, and the priest's or the pastor's words offer no comfort. Yeah. And for a young man, for a young child, that can be true. I can relate to that on a personal level. Most everybody knows my father passed when I was 7 years old. And I was so young at the time that I couldn't fully process what had happened to him. And it took me a long time to do so. And so I can understand Bruce's statement there to Meridian and everything when he's talking about the dreams that he's having about in the aftermath and the funeral for his parents and everything. And she's like, you're dredging up repressed feelings, something that has been buried and everything because you couldn't handle it at the time. But your subconscious is finally saying, hey, we need to deal with this. And of course, it's not at the best time because he's got Dick Grayson there at the house. He's dealing with not only Two-Face, but now the Riddler and everything. But he's having to just figure out who he is as a person. Is he Bruce Wayne, or is he Batman, or is he a combination of the two?
Yeah.
And by the end of this film, he's made that determination.
Yeah, and he says it. I can be both.
Yeah, I had to save them both. He's talking. I think he's talking to. I think he's talking to Enigma there at the end, and he's like, "I had to save them both, not because I have to be, but because I choose to be.
Yeah,
I choose to be both Bruce Wayne and Batman." And one of the really cool things about this film is this is the first time we see some real competition in terms of a businessman going after Bruce.
Yeah,
in terms
very
of
true.
And you don't see that very often, if ever.
Well, not only that, but it was the first time we really got to see Wayne Enterprises, because Wayne Enterprises wasn't in either one of the first two movies. I mean, you got to see like Max Schreck, but that was a whole nother, that was his own department store thing,
Yeah, with the kitty. Meow. Boom. Yeah, and that whole scene and everything with that interaction is just one scene. Well, before Enigma goes through his transformation into the Riddler, and Wayne's like, "This is a little iffy, Edward. I don't know if I can back this. Now, if you'll send me the specs and everything, I'll give it a look over." And I think that was smart as a businessman. You don't want to get into something you're not fully aware of.
Oh, yeah, especially with something like mind control.
Yeah, because this could be perceived as mind control, and that could be bad PR for Wayne Enterprises, for Wayne Tech. And, kind of going back to the beginning of the movie a little bit, that first interaction between Batman and Chase Meridian, she's like, "Wow, hot entrance." And he's like, "Oh, Dr. Meridian, I read your work. Insightful, naive, but insightful." It's like he's like just a little bit of shade because he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kind of steer clear of this because obviously this woman is exceedingly attractive. I mean, it's Nicole Kidman, for crying out loud."
Yeah,
she was and everything in the 90s. She was a sex symbol. Let's be honest.
Fresh off of Days of Thunder and Far and Away.
Yeah, and married to Tom Cruise. Little wacky Tom Cruise. Oh boy, that's a whole. That's a whole.
Well, I did like Days of Thunder though. That was like one of my favorite movies growing up.
Okay, and I'm just gonna say this. I may catch some flack from the chat. I've never seen Days of Thunder, and I've never seen Far and Away.
Okay, let me just. If you're a fan of Robert Duvall, you will love Days of Thunder.
I like Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall's aces in my book.
He's the best in that movie.
Okay, I'll have to check it out now because I didn't even know Robert Duvall was in it.
Well, it's also got Carrie Elwes too, where he's not using his British accent. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, now I definitely need to check this out. But getting back to Batman Forever, the other thing that I found really interesting is some of the set pieces, some of the big action scenes, and you have a really good one right there at the beginning, and with the bank heist by Two-Face, and they've pulled that huge, massive vault out of the bank, and they're towing it with that helicopter. Chan Thorpe, good to see you, sir. Glad you could tune in. I understand if you can't be here for very long. Okay, Josh. Don't make me put you in timeout.
I was gonna be like Nicole Kidman.
Do I have to rat you out to Rebecca? Don't make me do it. I'll do it. I will rat you. I'll rat you. I'll rat you out to Rebecca, Momini. I'll do it. I'll stick Loki on you. No bury yet. I'll stick Samantha Johan's Purple Lady on you. But and the other, getting getting back to that part, that was a great way to really kick off this film. Everything you really want to. Chanthorpe, yes, I can wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. Well, that like I said, the
bat butt,
the guilt-free butt shots. It reminds me of what was it? Mad TV had a special.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the Schumacher Batmans, and it was like Batman the musical, or Batman 5 the musical. I tried to find that video, and just because it's been such a long time since I've seen it, but the only thing I really remember is when they do the musical number of "We're Going Down the Bat Pole Tonight" or something like that, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what they got away with back in the 90s on Mad TV of all things.
Yeah, well, you know, here, fun fact, everything, you probably know this, Brian, everything, they've got Mad TV on HBO Max.
Ooh, I'm gonna try to have to find that episode, because that is seriously one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Josh, yeah, and you should be afraid of Loki. He's the god of mischief, and he will mess you up. But yeah, and you know, one of the interesting parts about this film is obviously the storyline with Robin, and Chan, me and Brian both have as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But you know, Robin's storyline in this film is actually really good, because this is a young man or anything who has seen his whole family murdered at the hands of a madman. Not much different from what Bruce went through. And Bruce is trying to tell him, you go down this road, it can consume you if you let it. And he's trying to persuade Dick and everything to not go down that road, because it's led to where he is now.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, you know, Alfred is very much an advocate for Dick. He's saying,
well, because he knows exactly what he went through, and what Bruce went through, because he was there at that age for Bruce, and he kind of encouraged his will for like motorcycles and stuff like that. And got to see the garage. And
oh man, you know, I'll say this: I love that garage. I wish we could have spent more time in that garage, but I understand.
I want one.
Oh man!
Oh, it's better than Tony Stark's garage. I'll tell you that, hands down. I mean, there are a bunch of Audis.
I don't know about that. I mean, Tony's got a pretty sick garage. Yeah. He does.
Well, I mean, just with the robots alone, I guess it's like a combination Batcave / garage. So
yeah,
it works for him, I suppose. Well, they do. They both get blown up in the end anyway. So
yes, unfortunately, yeah, because okay,
they come as trick or treaters and they blow his house up.
Trick or treat. Yeah, trick, and they knock poor old Alfred out.
Yeah.
And then that whole scene where Riddler's got those exploding bat Riddler bombs. He's like, tell the fat lady she's on in 5.
He starts chucking them into the Batmobile and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that gives us two of the best Bat vehicles we ever had, which was the Bat boat and that version of the Bat plane.
Yeah, and Chanthorpe brings up a really good point. Val, I can stop you. LOL. So funny. I like Val. Nobody puts him in a top 5. He did a pretty good job, all things. Chan, he's actually in my top 5. You know, it goes, and some people might disagree with this. That's okay. But it goes Bale, Keaton, Kilmer, and then West, and then of course, well, no, not West. What's the voice actor from the 90s? Crying out loud.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Kevin Conroy.
I was just going to go with live action ones. I've always been a fan of Michael Keaton, #1 on that one. I'd probably say Christian Bale. And that's just because of the people surrounding him so much, as because he played well off of them. But yeah, number 3 is definitely hands down Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
And then probably Clooney, and then West.
Well, the only reason
I never really watched much of the original show.
I did. Everything, it was on in reruns and everything when I was a kid growing up and everything, and I watched the old Adam West show, and I knew it was cheesy and campy, but that was the charm of it.
Well, that's the kind of camp they tried to bring into the Schumacher ones, I feel.
Yeah, and and I could understand that and everything. And I think in Batman Forever they kind of balanced that campiness with some seriousness and everything. It did a pretty good job. But unfortunately, in Batman and Robin,
oh no, that's all it was. It was a campfire.
Oh man, it was okay. The deal breaker for me wasn't Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. And it wasn't even necessarily the guy that they had playing Bane.
No, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that was.
They could have picked anybody else. Anybody else. And it would have been better, but no, it was horrible. I mean, I get it. He was a big name at the time. It was right off of Last Action Hero and stuff, but
yeah,
which is another good movie. I love that movie.
It's not bad.
I just like my favorite part of that movie that I'm going to talk is where they go to the Blockbuster and the Terminator posters of Stallone. He's like, I love those movies. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, but it's just honestly, the reason I put Conroy in there is because not only has he done the TV show, but he's done so many of the animated features that they've done with Batman over the years, and he has always brought it. He has always, and they even brought him back for Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and everything, because he was, for a long time, he was our Batman. Even though it was animated, he was our Batman. But getting back into Batman Forever, as I was starting to say and everything with Robin, with Dick Grayson's, with his storyline, I can really understand his frame of mind and everything. Yeah, Purple Lady. Yeah, I'm gonna pop that up there. And you know what? I can understand that. For me, that was the deal breaker. If they had made his dialogue more serious and less puns, I could have taken it. Because the design of the character wasn't bad, but it was all of the bad jokes that they kept putting on him, and it was just like, no, Mr. Freeze is not a comedic character. He's a heavy.
Yeah, he's always serious.
Yeah. Now, in the cartoon, he does have the animated show. He did have some cheesy, maybe, but some very sinister. I'll say it this way: he had some sinister puns, but for him, it worked. For him, it worked. And everything. So, but the thing with Dick's storyline in this movie is, I can understand. Yeah, Josh and Rebecca. Rebecca, I don't know if you're here. I'm thinking not because Josh is talking about Nicole Kidman. I imagine Rebecca smacking up the back of the head.
Wow. I was just looking at Kevin Conroy and seeing all the Batman he's done on his IMDb. Holy moly. That's like every single animated appearance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn. He was in Yoga Hosers.
I've never heard of that one, but
that's a Kevin Smith movie.
Oh, okay. But with Dick's storyline and Batman Forever, I can really understand where he was coming from. Even though I haven't lost someone the way he did, he was mad. He had a axe to grind. It was justified. It was completely and totally justified.
Oh, absolutely.
And am I saying that particular method of law enforcement is appropriate?
No. I mean, and they talk about it. Vengeance is never the answer. I mean, and like you said earlier, I mean, Bruce straight up tells him, it's like, hey, man, this isn't the road you want to go because, it's going to lead you down a bad path. especially with his personal experience with dealing with the Joker.
Yeah. Well, and the whole Joker killing his parents thing and everything, that was primarily in Burton's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Always, it's been different. It's been just a
random. Oh yeah, but it was like Joe Cool or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or Joe Chill. Yeah.
Or Joe Chill. Yeah.
But for Batman '89, it worked.
Oh yeah.
Shan Thorpe, yeah, and Josh Rebecca, yes. The animated Mr. Freeze, that for me is the quintessential Mr. Freeze. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that the Mr. Freeze in the Arkham games was very good, and I've not had a chance to play Arkham Origins, but from what I've heard, yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah. Okay, well, Josh and everything, I'll just have to figure out a way to DM the missus and tell her that you're drooling over Nicole Kidman and Drew Barrymore and Debbie Messer and Batman Forever, and tell her not to let you watch anymore.
Well, I could have done with Alicia Silverstone in one more movie. Should have been all right in Batman Forever.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That girl. Okay,
that was Aerosmith video time. It's when she was in all those Aerosmith videos.
Yeah, well, her and Liv Tyler, both.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm having a flashback. Go away. Go away.
It's okay. It's the '90s, man. It's what we're here to talk about.
But and you ultimately it isn't Dick that kills him, but
his greed does. He falls off the edge because he tosses his coin.
Well, it's not so much greed; it's the fact it's his compulsion to have his double-sided coin and everything, so that he can make a decision, because he can't make a decision on his own. Yeah. And it's Bruce that ends up killing Two-Face. It's not Dick and everything. I think in a way that was Bruce trying to spare Dick from all of that, maybe remorse and everything, because this is a Batman who has killed. I mean, he killed the Joker. Well, rather, he didn't save him, but he basically threw him off the belfry, off the tower there of the church and everything in Gotham.
He killed the Penguin and
killed the Penguin. So this is a Batman that is not afraid to take a life if he has to. But in this instance, he was not going to let Dick go down that road if he could spare him from it.
Yeah.
And I really wish. The sad thing about the Batman movies is the leading lady never makes it to the next film.
I like Kim Basinger.
Okay, yeah, as Vicky Vale. Yeah, mm-hmm. Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. Dang. Okay, I'm just going to say it. The Batman movies, they had some babes.
Well, I mean, until you get to the Dark Knight ones, not so much. But
yeah,
I mean, Elle Macpherson was in
Batman and Robin. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, Elle Macpherson at that time, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: Katie Holmes, she's not bad looking.
No, I didn't have a problem. I wasn't that big a fan of when they switched Rachel, though, from Katie Holmes to
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I wasn't that big a fan of her. And that's just because I didn't really like Maggie Gyllenhaal in some of the movies that she was in.
Yeah, and I can understand that. And Josh, yeah, I would wholeheartedly,
like cowbell.
You got to have more Christopher Walken in Batman. It's just it has
I've got a fever, and the only cure
is more Christopher Walken.
Oh, his Saturday Night Live appearances are legendary.
Oh man, don't get me started. Do not.
The Continental.
Oh man. And his opening monologues were so darn good.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little bit of a detour. Saturday SNL in the 80s and 90s, up until like 97 or 98, was some of the funniest comedy on TV at that time.
One name, Phil Hartman. I mean, he was amazing.
Another name, Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah, big time.
Before all his crappy movies.
Well, those are all in the 90s. All his good movies were in the 90s. Yeah. It wasn't until like after, like say post Big Daddy or what was the other one he did? Mr. Deeds, you know what I mean? After that, it kind of was like
hit and miss. Now I'll say, okay, another great one from SNL, Chris Rock.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man, Chris Rock, and he was just barely scratching the surface of how funny that man is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chan Thorpe. I could see that. Yeah. I could have seen Walken as a villain and everything in Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Uma Thurman. Okay, I'll say this about Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. Except for some of the cringier lines, she did a good job. She did a good job. Was it great?
With what she had? Yeah.
Yeah, with what she was given, she did a good job. Okay, another great SNL. And this is my all-time favorite, hands down, full stop. Mike Myers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, out of all that era, out of the people that went on to do bigger, better things, I mean, I have to say Mike Myers. I mean, between Wayne's World 1 and 2, you know, all of the Austin Powers movies. I mean, come on, man.
Okay, I like the first 2 Austin Powers. The third one, I did not care for.
That and it was kind of like the Love Guru to me. I was like, what? Okay, another Mike Myers movie.
Yeah.
Shrug the shoulders.
Yeah, and one of these days I am going to do a review of Wayne's World. I haven't seen the second one, but I have the first one. Love the first one.
Christopher Walken's in Wayne's World too.
Shut up. Oh, man. Now I got to get a copy. Now I've got to get a copy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, see, the Love Guru pass.
No, Chan Thorpe brings up a good one. Myers would have made a great Riddler. I think, yeah, I would. Robin Williams. Yeah, I could.
Robin Williams would have been good.
Oh man, but the thing about Carey as Riddler, he was lanky, he was skinny, he had kind of that cerebral feel that really worked for the character. So Carey was perfect. Carey was absolutely perfect, but you could have had somebody else do the role, and they might have done just as good. But the problem with Myers and Williams, they really couldn't have done like the physical humor. They're more like, when it comes to comedy, theirs is more verbal than it is physical. Carey can do both verbal and physical. And I think that's why they did pick him for the Riddlers, because he could do that. He had that very manic energy about him and everything that was perfect for the Riddler character. And
I love So I Married an Axe Murderer. Oh, sorry.
Okay. That's
you've never seen that one either?
No.
Oh, So I Married an Axe Murderer is like the quintessential 90s movie. It's fantastic. I freaking love that movie. He does the Scottish voice from Everything Scottish. Welcome to Everything Scottish. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. But his dad does that voice throughout the whole movie because he plays multiple characters. It's hilarious. Oh my gosh. So I won't spoil anything, but you got to check it out.
Okay. Well, and John Belushi. We lost a great one there, and that was before that wasn't before my time, but I was too young to realize that he was gone.
Yeah,
and Josh, we lost.
Yeah,
that man was.
Christopher Walken passed last year, right?
Somewhere along there, yeah, I think so. But getting back to Batman Forever, overall, this, besides the sentimental value and everything, because this, like I said, this came out around the time my grandmother passed. Just overall, this has been a movie that I come back to and I rewatch all of the time because it is, and the thing is, I don't know if they've done it already and I missed it or whatever, but I'm eventually going to pick up a copy of Batman 89 on 4K if they haven't done it already. Because that is the one that I do not have. And to the chat, Orville Nation, PJ, good to see you, sir. Hope everything is doing well in the union. So everything over there in Orville world. So, but this movie, it has high rewatchability. It really does. And it really encapsulates, I think, in a lot of ways, some of the best elements of superhero movies in Chan Thorpe just chimed in with this. Vulcan's still alive?
Okay, never mind.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Chan. Appreciate it.
Okay,
we can breathe.
All right.
But what Batman Forever does, it really encapsulates the superhero movie of the 90s.
Yeah, and then right after that, X-Men came out, so it kind of changed the whole.
Years later.
Yeah. Well, they went for more realistic as far as the X-Men went, to less of the comic book style. I kind of compare it to like the Hulk movie that was in the 90s, or not the 90s, but 2002, 2003.
By Ang Lee.
Yeah, where everything was like a comic book slide, basically, or a panel from a comic book.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is the guy that did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and he's doing this. And I actually went to see Hulk, and I'm like, I walked out, and I was like, that was boring.
So like, man,
like that was really, really boring.
Well, I mean, it followed up after two of the best superhero movies of all time, which was like X2 and Spider-Man. So I mean, it was hard to follow up after that.
Well, and Chan Thorpe brings up a good point here, and he's like, Batman Forever is a minor classic, but boy, it takes liberties with the canon. Yeah, it does, but you know what? If you're not looking for something that's necessarily canonical to the rest of the Batman lore, if you're just looking for a good, entertaining superhero movie, you get that in spades. You really do.
Well, I don't think really any of the 90s movie, the 89 movie, I don't think any of them really had much connective continuity as far as, being standalone movies almost. And then if you look at all the different iterations of Batman, I will say the Dark Knight trilogy follows, a lot more to the lore, but with all the different iterations of Batman, in live action movies.
Yeah, I mean, the only connective tissue really with the four Batman movies from the 90s is Alfred and Commissioner Gordon in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot else that connects. I mean, except for that reference and everything in Batman Returns and everything when Alfred is giving Bruce grief and everything to bringing Vicky down to the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Aside, I mean,
But yeah, other than that, I mean, they don't really connect. They can almost stand up by themselves as far as Batman movies are concerned.
Yeah, and I think if you look at them that way, they're the ones that people don't particularly care for. Because for me, I liked Batman Returns, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, that was such a good movie. The Prophecy.
Man, yeah, that movie back in the day and everything, it gave me the Wiggins and everything. Oops, wrong one.
I'm a number one. Jack Palance, man.
Oh man, that'd be a good one to watch probably for is Batman 89.
Yeah, there you go.
I've already got my watch party for next month planned out. We're doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I've never seen that movie. Seen the references, but
I can't. I gotta get Cam for a minute.
Ambassador. Bueller. Oh, it had Captain John Harriman in it, so that was cool. Yeah, he was in Generations. Captain the Enterprise B for like 10 minutes.
Okay, I feel better now.
All right. Glad you got that out of your system.
But anyway, Brian, is there anything else in particular you want to talk about with Batman Forever? Because we're getting up on an hour, and I figure we're gonna wrap this up.
Oh no, I think we got sidetracked, but it's a good way to tell us that we've said pretty much everything we can say. My main point: soundtrack is a million times better than the movie. Well, not on this one, but in particular, but there's something to say about the Schumacher Batmans. I wish I still had that CD, to be honest with you. It was one of the first CDs we ever got, in the transition from cassette tapes. So that was, then Kirk had to bail out Cameron. Yeah. No, the only thing I know about it is the guy that played the captain of the Enterprise B was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Kirk got lost in the Nexus and all that other good stuff.
And Chanthorpe, yeah, we have talked about the music for Batman Forever. We've covered that and everything. And I might actually include a link for the YouTube video, because honestly, I love that video. That video is one of my. Anytime it came up on MTV, I was like, "Stop everything! The world stops right now! I'm watching this video in full."
Well, they just made that. They came out with that really good album the year before that had. Mysterious Ways, and U2 was really, really good at that point in time. I remember watching them. Oh, yeah. I had the MTVs back when they actually had music on there. Yeah, there you go. Kiss me, kill me, thrill me.
It's hold me, thrill me, kiss me, kill me. Get it right, Chan.
It was great, though.
Yes, it was. And Chan, I'm just teasing. I hope you know that. But this was a great. Honestly, this is one in my top 20. Yeah, Josh, believe it or not.
Yeah, before the real world is what ruined it.
What the hell happened to MTV?
They put Real World out. Started doing reality television.
Just play music.
And then VH1 was like, "We'll play music," and then they stopped playing music too.
Yeah, and now you've got MTV 2000 channels of MTV, and none of them play music ever, and you have to. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, folks. My bad. Josh is like for the dark times before.
So true.
Yeah.
And then it was the road rules.
And the grind. Now, the only thing I will say about MTV that they did that I liked was the animated shows like Beavis and Butthead and The Head and the Max and stuff like that. Yeah, Chan, I can't say I disagree with you on that one. So, well, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But I want to thank Brian, as always, for coming in. Brian, love having you on, man. It's always a pleasure.
No problem. It's always a pleasure being on, man.
Yeah.
Anytime I can come on and talk about movies.
Oh, yeah. And to the chat, Chanthorpe, Eon Flux. Yeah, that was another good one. The cartoon, not the movie with Charlize Theron. We don't speak of that here. So, but to everybody in the chat, Josh and Rebecca Momini, or just Josh Momini, Chanthorpe, Purple Lady, Number One Sci-Fi, Orville Nation, Number One Sci-Fi. I think I may have said him already. And just all of you that'll see this on the replay, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. Just a couple of quick notes. Later this evening over on DJ Odyssey's channel, he's going to be doing his 48-hour stream, and I am going to be on there for a little while, so be sure to keep your eyes open for a notification on that. And there will be no ambassadorial wing this weekend. I'm taking a couple of weeks off and everything to recharge my batteries and get ready. But I will be back next. I will be doing my normal weekly streams and everything. And folks, just in the comments or in the chat, if you're liking me doing these afternoons of the ambassador and everything during the week, put a comment or put a thumbs up or put a whatever and everything, and let me know if you are liking these, because I'm thinking very strongly about, besides the one I do on Mondays with Babylon 5 and everything with Adega, Outlaw, and Mountains of Elysium, I'm thinking about maybe on Wednesdays and Fridays doing these afternoons with the ambassador on a more regular basis, because there's a lot of stuff and everything to there's a lot of stuff out there that I can discuss. So if you like this, let me know. And everything, of course, most of you follow me on Twitter. Most of you follow me on Discord and what have you and everything. And I do have an Instagram account and everything if any of you are on Instagram. So be sure to follow me there as well, because I do post stuff there on a semi-regular basis. But that all being said, folks, I will be back on July 11th and everything with another installment Saturday night of the ambassadorial wing and everything. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears open for that. And thanks, Shan. I appreciate that. And Shan, I don't know if I ever told you this for fully. Thank you for subscribing and everything. I know it's been a few weeks since you have, but I really appreciate it. We're edging towards 300. We're getting there. So as soon as we hit 300, it's going to be 90s karaoke and music discussion nights. So,
cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm almost to 290.
Nice.
I'm almost to 290. As soon as we hit 300, I will do that 90s karaoke night. So be sure to share this out with your friends. Say, hey, go over and check out this guy called the Ambassador. He does good stuff. So, but anyways, folks, I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all have a great weekend. I will see y'all on Monday with Afternoons of the Ambassador. And until next time, this is the Ambassador and the Master signing off.